Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of our little team building series we have going here. I've been working with the actor of Dr. Virgil Thatcher to help make our team here today. Let me show you what we're working with. We are working with an Aurorus with Snow Warning and a Quick Claw. That is going to give it a pretty good chance to be going first, and it's going to help counter some of the weather teams that we usually struggle with. And as well as just having powerful moves like Earth Power and Blizzard, that should be able to give us some good defense with a little bit of offense. Aegislash is running pretty similar to how we ran Absol, if you've seen that. Or Absol might not be in a video yet. That might be later. But it is going to be aiming for crits with Night Slash. It is holding on to Shadow Claw and Iron Head just to have some coverage there. Our Aerodactyl is the same as from Zapper's Zeal, and it is to just set up Tailwind and do whatever else it can with that Focus Sash. Unnerve is really helpful for preventing berries. We also have Gallade, which for those of you who have watched Project Abyss would know, that is the Doctor's ace Pokemon. I even took some time out of my day to go and try to shiny hunt that, and shiny hunting fucking sucks. But after that, we're left with Lopunny, another Pokemon of the Doctors. I'm not sure if that one actually made it into any of my videos, but it is very likely going to be seen on someone's channel when they get around to uploading them. And we also have Hydrapple here, because an apple a day keeps the doctor away. As you can see, we have a little bit more bulk on Aurorus here, just try to keep it around and keep it fighting. Aerodactyl still hit hard, hit fast, have a little bit of health. Lopunny we have built here once again for quick offense, likewise with Gallade. So usually it's going to be Lopunny outspeeding, especially with Choice Scarf. Cute Charm's going to come in handy because most people don't really pay attention to the gender of their Pokemon. And because of how Pokemon works, a lot of people running things like Incineroar and all that will usually have male Pokemon. Just due to the percentages not always being 50-50, especially on some of the more bulky Pokemon. Alrighty, sorry about that. Going back to Gallade, it's running the Sharpness ability, which is going to boost its power into all of those moves, making them all at the very least base 100 power moves. Carrying Protect, as almost everything on this team is in some fashion or another, just to be able to buy time. That is going to be our target Mega for this team too. So we're probably going to be bringing Gallade into every battle we can. Aerodactyl likewise for Tailwind. And then everyone else is just a throw up. Like for example, Aurorus, I'm probably not even going to consider bringing too much unless I can tell we're going into a weather team. And then Lopunny is probably going to default in if I don't need anything specific. But enough rambling about that. Let's see how this goes into our first match. Alrighty, going into our first match here, we are facing off against a Mousehold, Floette, Garchomp, possibly a Sand team, but otherwise it looks like it's not going to be relying on much weather. Instead, it's likely going to fall down to that Floette doing a lot of damage from what I've seen, as well as the Mousehold itself just being a scary thing to have thrown at you. We are definitely going to want to lead with Aerodactyl, and then if I have... then honestly, opening up with Lopunny here might be a smart move and keeping Gallade on the back, just in case we do see that Pandamouse come out first. Though it could be a read on a lot of things. I don't really know who they plan on frontlining here. I've seen that Floette come out a lot first, and that could be pretty dangerous. Dragon Tamer title, so could be leading Garchomp. Oh, and that would be the case. That Talonflame is most definitely setting Trick Room. But now they don't have berries. I said Trick Room. I meant to say that Talonflame's probably doing Tailwind. But we can quickly shut that down just by trying to eliminate Garchomp. Yep. Oh, Talonflame's faster than Aerodactyl. Huh. The more you know. Ooh, and that is going to be why we have a Focus Sash on Aerodactyl. That double into Aerodactyl was pretty rough. Play rough, not doing as much as I hoped. Ooh, rough skin. That also is kind of unfortunate. But we have Tailwind now, so we are currently contending. Did I speed? This is a speed built Aerodactyl, right? Did do my stats right? Hey guys, just wanted to cut in here real quick and let you know what's going on. I forgot the ability Gale Wings exist, which is Talonflame's hidden ability, which gives it priority with flying type moves, like Tailwind. So, I'm going to be confused about that, but for those of you who are curious, that is how a Talonflame, which even with max speed should still be 5 points slower, is getting ahead on Aerodactyl here. Alright, back to the video now. I'll have to check that in a minute. But now that we're going, we know that Aerodactyl is going to go last. They might be trying to get rid of Aerodactyl, so we're going to protect. And then let's just try again for hitting play rough on the Garchomp. If we're lucky, we're either going to high roll or crit, which means we should be able to get a knockout. That Garchomp's going to protect, so we're going to be nulled on us getting A in progress, but if that Talonflame used Acrobatics into Lopunny... No, they was going for a kill on Aerodactyl, so we are both true neutral this turn. That is kind of unfortunate. But we cannot really risk having Aerodactyl up in the front line. So what we're going to do is switch into Aegislash, because it's a very small chance I see of them trying to use Flare Blitz, especially when they're this up in pieces. And we're just going to keep trying to swing Garchomp, now knowing that's unlikely to protect this turn, as Protect only has a 1/3 chance of proccing after the first time it's used. Mouse Hold. That is entirely what I was afraid of. Acrobatics into Aegislash, meaning that was a pretty good switch considering it's Ghost Steel. Play rough on Mouse Hold is not going to hit. That's very unfortunate. I think that might mean it's Bright Powder. But we're not going to defend for long. We're going to try to take out that Mouse Hold. And I forgot Scarf. This is why I don't like choice items. But we're going to play it safe here. We're going to switch into Gallade, because running Sacred Sword should also be able to pick up a good KO. We just have to hope that Gallade has enough health to withstand a Population Bomb. Yep, that's going to be Protect on the Talonflame. Taunt on Aegislash, which is going to work perfectly. Or work perfectly for us. It's going to hurt come next turn, because that's going to definitely tell us they're setting up for a Flare Blitz. Night Slash, that's going to do 30. We're going to lose Tailwind. They're going to lose Tailwind, so they might Tailwind next turn. Well, in the off chance they do Tailwind for next turn, I meant to go up, so it looped down. Whoops. We should try to Iron Head just to get that out of here. We're going to pop out Mega Gallade immediately, and no, we can play this a little better. Sorry, I'm very indecisive here. We can Shadow Claw onto Talonflame to try and land a critical hit. Mega Evolve into Sacred Sword on Mousehold, because I'm predicting Mousehold's likely going to protect this turn, because they can see we have two very challenging pieces on for it. Mega Gallade just looks so cool. Follow me. Okay. So they want this thing to die. That's unfortunate. We're not going to be landing our crit as they set up Tailwind again. Honestly, that's probably the best this could have gone for us, but it's still not great. Sacred Sword's doing the work, though. That's what we want, so we can still go in for a chance on critical hit on Talonflame here. Ooh, that's some good damage. That was not a crit. Alrighty. We're going to King Shield here just because we know what's likely coming out. And we need to not get greedy. And we're still taunted for another turn. I don't think Aegislash is going to survive another turn. So what we can do is pull out Lopunny again. And we can use Sacred Sword one more time on Gallade because it's still going to be doing really good damage. And that should be able to knock out Garchomp. Or if Garchomp switches here, it could knock out whatever Garchomp switches into. We did lose our slicing bonus when we Mega Evolved, so that maybe wasn't our best play. Ooh, that is going to go for knockout with that Acrobatics. Stomping Tantrum, ground type move. That is going... Wow. That is going to proc our Cute Charm though, so they have fallen in love. Which I would need to double check the terminology on that. We can set back up Unnerve. Yeah, so there's a 50% chance of disobedience from Garchomp now. And we're going to do whatever we can to try to keep that up. So we're going to protect on Lopunny. Aerodactyl is in a bit of a bind, but we're just going to accept that we're losing Aerodactyl this turn and set up Tailwind instead. Yep. So we are going to get our 50% chance on Lopunny. I'm willing to expect Acrobatics onto... Yeah. So, unfortunately, that means we do not get Tailwind here. So, they are still going to outspeed us, likely for the rest of the battle. But this allows us to safely bring back in Aegislash. Now, without Taunt, we can protect with it and attack. We're Choice Scarfed into Protect. Have I mentioned I don't like choice items? Just because they're the best picks doesn't mean they're good picks. We are going to use Shadow Claw again onto Talonflame because Garchomp still has a coin flip on whether it gets to attack or not. Oh, Flare Blitz. That is going to take out Aegislash. Or not, because it hasn't changed forms yet, so it still has real good bulk. Ooh, that's really unfortunate for them. We are going to get our stance changed in Aegislash now. And that will pick up a KO with a critical hit right at the end there. Let's see who their third Pokemon they bring out is. As they lose their Tailwind again and can no longer set it back up. Rotom, alrighty. Goes to Water type in this form. So I can see why they wanted to keep it on the back. We're going to protect Lopunny again. And we're just going to use Shadow Claw one more time. Because chances are that Garchomp is going to finally get off an Earthquake. We're just going to have to forfeit the battle if we can't use Protect. Thunderbolt is going to be KO. And because I'm not going to drag out this battle, we are going to forfeit as we can no longer do damage. That is unfortunately a loss due to my misplays there. And maybe not making this team the best I could have. But let's go on and I'll meet you guys in game 2. Oh, and we are in game 2 now. Still running in with Virgil's Vigor. We are going up against, a Sunny Day team. Because we know this is going to be a Sun team, we're still wanting to bring Aerodactyl. We're going to want to bring Auroras on the back just to see how things play out. This might be a good game to show off Hydrapple. But we're still going to run that, Auroras, and Gallade. The Whimsicott Basculegion. Chances are that's going to be a flip turn Basculegion. They are both going to have their Sharpness fall from Sticky Syrup. I'm still not sure if that was the best possible move we could have made for the ability, but I like it enough that I think it has its uses. We're going to use Energy Ball and Basculegion despite expecting it to switch. Yes, we saw Whimsicott Tailwind coming. I still need to go look at these speed calcs. I thought Aerodactyl should be outspeeding on all of these. Oh, it's because of Prankster. Energy Ball is still going to do about 3rd HP, so it's still not bad. Honestly, I think we should try to take out Whimsicott here. Actually, no. They're going to likely use Fake Out on Aerodactyl. Our best move would be to read that with a Protect. And then we can pop Earth Power and use that to take out Sneasler. Yep. They're going to use Light Screen, which is going to protect them from special moves. And I'm going to do less damage to Hydrapple, which is the only reason that Sneasler gets to survive right there. But now that I know they can't use their priority, I can safely attack into Whimsicott here, and we are going to once again Earth Power into Sneasler. There we go. Yeah, Aerodactyl going down is something that was on my bingo card, very unfortunately. And while we're no longer picking up the KO on Sneasler, meaning we do know it's in the back, we are going to get a half-decent hit on Basculegion here. And we're going to lower its special defense. I'm surprised we haven't seen any of the weather Pokemon come out. Very truthfully, they might have brought just Charizard. But now is probably a good time to bring out Gallade, because chances are we're going to be seeing what they have on the back. Can Mega Evolve into Leaf Blade on Basculegion. Then I believe we should be able to outspeed Hydrapple Sneasler. Fake Out is back on the table now that Sneasler is in, by the way. Ooh, that is going to be a KO on Gallade, unfortunately. They're going for Dire Claw, which is not going to knock out Hydrapple, but will allow Hydrapple to finish off Sneasler. They lose Tailwind, we lose Tailwind, and neither of us have a way to set it back up. And now I've pushed them into a situation where we both have to show our last Pokemon. Yes, I expected to see Charizard here. We're not going to be really taking advantage of Drought, sadly. Our best move right now might just be set up Aurora Veil. Well, we can. Then do our best to just take out Basculegion here. Either way, I'm pretty sure we do get outsped by both of these Pokemon. because Auroras is not built particularly fast. Especially if they're going to eat. Oh yeah, that is unfortunately game. So sadly, it does not appear game 2 is going in our favor, which does mean this team is, by statistics, less effective than Zapper's Zeal. We're going to run one more just to see if we can get a win with this team. We're getting ready to battle as we load into our final match of the day. Oh. I think we might want to set up weather as soon as we can, because there's going to be a lot of things here weak to ice. I don't see how Lopunny is going to help us here. So if we bring Aegislash, this might be the safest team we can bring. Very likely this is going to be running Mega Dragonite. Alright. Sylveon and Hisuian Samurai open. We're going to play this safe and just run our double setup this turn. Ooh. That is a good hit. And once again, that's why we have focus. If this is a Pixelate Sylveon that uses Hyper Voice, that does mean that, yes, we are out of Tailwind this turn. But I believe with all of this, we can still bring in Aegislash safely. Because right now, the biggest concern for damage is going to be that Sylveon. Since we can safely use a Blizzard, I'm going to do that. Especially if we get our Quick Claw. That's going to be able to... Ooh, into Bug, Fire, Volcarona. This is not going to be very effective. But if we're lucky, it does not freeze, unfortunately. This does mean only Sylveon can attack this turn, though. And we do manage to pick up a KO. This team might have a little bit of promise now that I'm getting used to it and can see how it plays. We are going to use King Shield on Aegislash here to change its stance again. And Blizzard's not going to be very effective on either of them. And honestly, I think if I go for a double protect here, it might be just a good way to fend off whatever's going to come. Using Quick Claw twice in one battle itself is already pretty good luck. Going to get our stance changed into King Shield. Is this just going to be a 4-turn protect? No, Ceaseless Edge. Usually that would drop spikes, but since it's protected, it does not get to trigger its secondary effect. We're going to back out Aegislash into what I think can do a little more damage. We're going to use Earth Power on Volcarona just to let it know it does not have time to set up. Because if that thing starts quiver dancing, we are in danger. Ceaseless Edge into Gallade. It is going to do some good damage and lay spikes. But we are going to get the attack back on Volcarona. Volcarona is probably going to launch an Overheat or a Fire Blast. No, they're going for Quiver Dance. Alrighty. We do finally lose Tailwind. We're going to Mega Evolve into Sacred Sword just to take out the Samurott. Then once again, we're going to use Earth Power on this Volcarona. Honestly, protecting this turn also could have been smart. I'm just hoping that we see 2 Quiver Dances instead of 1. No, it is only going to be 1. That's not going to be enough to get a knockout on Auroras. But it will allow for a knockout on Gallade, very unfortunately. I might have spoke too soon when I said this was looking good for us. With 2 sets of spikes down, and Volcarona taking less and less damage, this very well could be the end of the battle. And there's a Citrus Berry. Ooh, this is just not looking good. We're going to change up our strategy a little bit here and try to hit Volcarona with some physical damage instead of special. Aegislash is not built to take hits. Very unfortunately, it does not seem like this is my best work, and that is going to be the battle. So out of 3 battles, this team has successfully came out on top of 0 of them. Well, a lot of this could be to sloppy playing on my part, as I am still not the best with VGC. It is just not a very sound team when it comes to damage, and its defenses are just not where they need to be. Hi there, Editor Do here again. I just wanted to come in here and say thank all of you for your support on this series and Project Abyss. It has truly meant the world to both me and all of the actors we've had on there. And if you're looking for this kind of content, please subscribe and share it. It really does help us out. And also, if you're looking to see a particular character from Project Abyss get a team built, I plan on making 2 more of these to turn into one large collage video. And after that, we'll see where things go. I have a couple of people who might be reaching out for teams, so that's probably what comes after. But thank you all and have a good night.